Good morning. Welcome. Well, I have nothing new to say. It's amazing to me that I can manage to say so much about so little over so long a period of time. And, oh well, what can I do? We're at the end of this retreat, which, for me, from where I sit, for me, for this preacher here, has been quite spectacularly fruitful and informative and helpful. I get far more than you from these retreats, I believe. I am grateful to you for speaking to me, for calling my attention to what you see to be the case, for calling my attention to what you cannot make sense of in the things that I say. This has been a great gift to me this time. And to the extent that this work that Carla and I do is helpful to others, it will bear fruit over the long term. It's not entirely possible to say how this will play out, but my time with you has changed things. My time with you in every time that I speak with you, whether it's in a particularly focused and intense circumstance like this retreat, or in the online meetings, or in open meetings here at Ojai or Santa Monica, or in emails, or any time I speak to you. It changes things. It changes my capacity to see and communicate more clearly what is so obvious to me and so difficult to express. So thank you for that. I'm very grateful. And this retreat in particular has been in a class of its own. We as human beings, we are born here. We have no idea, or we have many ideas as to how that came to pass, or in what circumstance this arising of me and you has appeared. But we really don't know. We're just here. We're here, and we, as a consequence of the accidental coincidence of vivid self-awareness and the sense of being in danger, we, all of us, universally as human creatures, find ourselves driven by the need to save ourselves, to do something, to get something different other than what's here. Life seems unsatisfactory. It seems not to live up to its promise. And underlying it all is the certainty of my own extinction, which itself is a lie. We have, over the thousands and thousands of years that we have been seeking for some final solution, if you'll forgive the expression, some truly profound and fundamental transformation. We have, over the years, stumbled upon freedom here and there. We have not often or always understood or been able to see clearly what the actual what actually has taken place that has rid us of the sense of fearfulness and anxiety and the antagonistic relationship with life itself. As a part of that long-term project within the human creature to find salvation and transformation and transcendence or enlightenment, we have finally come to the point, one hopes, where we have seen more clearly not the comprehensive understanding of the nature of reality or our purpose here as human creatures or from whence we come or to where we end up, not that, but we have come, one hopes, to the point where we can see clearly how we can make a fresh start and begin again our time on this earth free of the fear of our own lives. Because that's what afflicts us, the fear of life. One hopes that we've come to the point where we can see that without the need to develop philosophical or psychological or spiritual explanations for its efficacy, although I don't hesitate to do so, but without the need to develop any kind of explanations for why it works or how it fits into our thousands of year trek seeking an end to the misery. We have come to the point, one hopes, where we can see that the simple act, without regard to why, really without regard to why is just a story I tell based on my own intuition about it in order to persuade and encourage those I speak to just to try this simple act. Your agreement with my intuition is optional. It's actually beside the point. Once the impulse arises within you to try this movement, to actually enact it, all the reasons that have led you to that become beside the point, including my kind of stumbling effects to talk you into it, trick you into it, judo you into it, whatever. We have come to the point, one hopes, where we can communicate to each other and for ourselves actually consider the possibility of just this one simple movement, which is the movement of attention, the movement of the very force that has caused us so much trouble over these lives, the force of searching, the force of trying to find a solution, the force of trying to find a way out, an escape. We can use this very force, finally, for the purpose that it arose, which is to rid us, once and for all, of the false assumption that we are in danger here, that there's something wrong here, something missing, something alien present. And we do that by bringing this force of attention and the desire to find a way out back to its own source, back to your actual nature. And without regard to the explanations or intuitions or hypotheses I may promote about why this is so, the fact is, explanations aside, understanding aside, the fact is that upon embarking upon this investigation, this effort to get the direct, recognizable, conscious glimpse of your actual nature, regardless of why, regardless of anything, the fact is that this activity results, so far as I can see, without exception, in the eventual ridding ourselves of the idea that there's something wrong, something fundamentally, profoundly wrong about life. It's important to me that you see that there's no need for you to be in agreement with my view of the nature of things. There is no need for you to be in agreement with my view as to why this works, or from whence has arisen the problem in the first place. The only thing that's needed is for you to try this one movement, this one act, repeatedly, over time. And in that, the game is up, and the misery is over. No matter how much time it takes for it to finally settle itself down, the end is certain. I suspect this may not be true. I don't mean to project upon others opinions that they do not hold, but based on my own experience with reading and participating in spiritual discussion and discourse over the years, I suspect that there are those who would feel that my desire to save humanity, really, my desire to see all of humanity rid of this stupidity, is unspiritual. I mean, all is well. Nothing needs to be done, and so forth. But I see no fundamental difference between the collective creature that is humanity itself and the individual components of that collective creature, in that this being, this creature here, wants to live. Really, wants to live. There's no profound and existential dread that's associated with this creature's desire to live. What there is a watchfulness and a carefulness and a willingness to treat illness and a willingness to eat right and a willingness to watch my weight and exercise and do all the things that promote the possibility of living, beyond tomorrow. Same is true of humanity. Humanity wants to live. And in the desperate conviction that there is something profoundly, some profound certainty of extinction that looms for all of us and for the human creature itself, we have, as this creature of humanity, as we have not so uncommonly with the individual components of that creature, we have driven ourselves to the brink of destroying ourselves. We do that in our individual lives. We are driven by this sense of something being wrong to seek satisfaction and solution in some of the most insane and ridiculous manners that are imaginable. We eat until we kill ourselves with eating too much. There's no rational basis for the things we choose to do to try to make ourselves feel better, to try to give ourselves satisfaction. It is all blind, infantile movements of acquisition and resistance. And just as we as individual human beings, following this desperate sense of urgency to do something, to get something, we have as individual human beings driven ourselves as individual human beings to death. Really, to death. We have killed these lives in the name of saving them. And the same is true of humanity as a whole. And just if there is value in preserving this life, then there is value in preserving the life of humanity. It's not true that it is ignorant to try to help or to try to maintain the health of this creature. It's just not true. That's what we're here for. We're here to live. We're here to be the expressive mode of this incomprehensible reality from which we arise. to which we return. And with the collective creature as with the individual creature, there's nothing whatsoever that will work except to rid ourselves of this lie, of this false assumption that we are not even conscious of, except to the extent that it drives us. So, the only thing I have to say to you in the end of this retreat is what I have said to you throughout this retreat, which is please see if you cannot look at yourself. Just that. Not at awareness, not at true self, not at God. We know nothing of God. Not at bliss, not at true love, but at you. At that which answers to the name of me, or I. Look there. Whenever you can, look there. Whenever you can, divert the movement of attention from the thoughts and ideas and understandings and desires and aversions and fears and craziness. Whenever you can, divert that arrow of attention from all of that back to its source, to you. If there is any experience present in you, it is proof positive that you are. If there is any experience in you, it is proof positive that you are. So that any experience, no matter how insignificant, no matter how significant, no matter how wonderful and beautiful and gorgeous and glorious, no matter how tormenting and terrible and horrible and hateful, any experience whatsoever points directly back to that which I am asking you to look at. Look, look. All the time, look. Doesn't take anything. Doesn't take any understanding. Doesn't take any lack of understanding. Doesn't take any belief. Doesn't take any lack of belief. Doesn't take anything. Just this willingness, without regard to any thoughts, fears, confusions, and so forth that may arise around it, without regard to any of that, just to do this one simple thing and look. Stick to the point. Don't stick to the point. Look for the point. You are the point. And everything will come out right in the end. And that's for sure and certain. The outcome and result of this simple methodology, this simple practice, this simple movement is unpredictable. What is certain is that the outcome and result of this is not what we have expected to be what it is that we have wanted for all of these lives. Therefore, it is very difficult from the beginning to have any sense of what this will bring about, because the outcome is not what we have expected to be the case. Some change in things, some transformation of things. The outcome is a subtraction, not an addition. It is the subtraction of this false assumption and the energy of fearfulness and searching that arise from it. Life remains as it is. which is to say ever changing, ever moving and morphing, and according to the laws of cause and effect within these lives themselves. Life will be inconceivably easier without anything about its characteristics changing. Life is what we have wanted all along. These lives, just as they are, is what we have wanted all along. It's what we have sought for, trying to escape from it. And there's no way on God's earth that I have seen, and there's no way that seems to have been successful in all the thousands of years we've been at this, that we can make that be so by force of will, or by the force of the compelling nature of how it's presented, or by any practice whatsoever, because it is already the case. The only thing that we can do is rid ourselves of that which obscures reality and confuses us endlessly, which is this small, minor, false assumption that we are not even aware of, and that is unbelievably easy to dispose of. So just look. And I would be really grateful if you stay in touch with me. Really. You are helped beyond what you might imagine in this work, in my life, in Carla's life. You are wondrous. So I'd be very grateful if you stay in touch with me. If you email me or come to the online meetings. I used to think, because of the residual effects of spiritual understanding, I used to think that, in fact, I had a kind of distaste and aversion to the idea that people should gather together and stay connected with each other and talk to each other and so forth. I used to think that that was so unspiritual. That was so common. I've come to see that I was absolutely wrong in that. That it is, insofar as it is of value to save the human creature, it is impossible without the combining of our voices, the combining of our reports and adventures and investigation in these lives. We are one creature. We are not different. We sink or swim together. So I'd be grateful if you stay in touch with me. I tell you that so far, I am really, really bad with responding. And the reason for that is because my work habits are not all that great. I never learned the skills and so forth for being able to manage my time effectively. And, I was a gambler and a ne'er-do-well and so forth. So I don't have those skills. I'm trying to learn them. And I'm trying to develop ways in which I can be responsive and helpful to everybody as a result of communicating with you, as a result of hearing from you. I'm trying to develop ways in which I can be more responsive to emails. But in the meantime, bear with me, have pity on me, and stay in touch with me anyway. Be assured that anything you write to me or say to me, that I receive really fully. I am informed by it, I am fed by it and nourished by it, and I am grateful beyond my ability to express. And certainly beyond the way it appears by my apparent disregard of what you write to me and so forth. It's not true. We will also, in the coming days, we will develop more ways that it might be useful and effective for us all to stay in touch with each other. I'm not sure what that'll look like, but this is something that is alive in our own work. So stay tuned. That's it. I'm done. Got nothing to say. Lita. Good morning.
Good morning. I've been not wanting to come up here during the retreat because it's just really scary to me.
It's scary, huh?
Yeah. The camera.
Yeah, the camera and the light and all these eyes and.
But after talking last night, while I was sitting here, like there were competing fears. There was the fear of coming up here versus the fear of
not coming up here.
And I can feel my heart beating now. And I wanted to feel that fear more. Like last night when I was talking to you. It was so strong. And it felt like, if that's the way down into where I am, it's like I had all these little fears that I could kind of deny.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like...
Yeah, that one you can't deny. Once it's seen, it's not deniable.
Right. There was also a certainty, it was funny when we were talking about whether whether I'm certain that I'm there or not. And I can say, well, yeah, I'm not. But it's funny, like the thing that came from, that everybody in the room heard me say, I'm sorry, I still, the one thing I am certain of, is I never said that. So, taking that certainty down, too, that was also well, that is something I'm certain of, and who's certain of that?
Yes.
So, I don't know. That was kind of it. I just wanted to come up here.
That's good enough. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm happy you came up.
Thank you.
That's good enough. You're very welcome.
I'm just going to sit here for a second longer.
It's okay.
It's like stepping into the unknown.
Yeah, I know.
And it's funny at the moment that your arm goes up, intention and not intention are.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah. I'm just tickled that you came up.
Yeah, I feel very warm.
Mm-hmm.
When I was thinking, sitting in my seat, it's kind of like when you're watching Jeopardy from home. It's very different. I think I also have an ongoing fear of taking people's time, being the one that gets to sit here.
I wouldn't worry about that.
That's you?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but you can do it if you want to.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so happy you came up.
Thanks. That's because I'm dead.
Julia? Hi, Julia.
Last night I went to my room, and after we met I was a bit hyper. I don't know if because of essential oil I put on me because I had 2 spiders on a room or whatever. I couldn't sleep until 12 at night.
Spiders are creepy.
Yeah. Especially I said, well, I'm going to have to sleep with the lights on because I noticed they didn't move when the lights were on. Huh? And they moved when I turned them off. So by 12 o'clock, I said, well, the heck. So I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and it was like tension here and still overwhelming. But I said, what the heck? Am I here? So I looked at that and it was like, this is freedom.
Yes, that's right.
I have never been bound.
You have never been bound.
No.
It was just an idea.
That's all.
Whose time has come to go.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe it's a snap of a finger.
I'm so happy you came all the way here from Montreal.
Spent 12 years trying to fix Julia.
It's amazing, huh? The things we do.
So this is home, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else, or shall we just wrap this up and go have cookies? Hi, Michelle.
Hi. I have more questions.
I see you have them.
It's in case I forget everything when I get up here. Okay. I was curious when you come in and you sit and you close your eyes. What's that like for you?
What that is? Every once in a while I think I ought to say something about the fact that I come in and sit down and close my eyes. It's just me I just need to get acclimated to being here. I just need to settle down from the car ride and getting my microphone put on and walking around, going to the bathroom. So I just have to feel a need to just kind of settle down. That's all it is.
And so at that time, are you coming back to you or are you just already you all the time?
I am just like you. I am always me. How could I be anything?
Well, do you make a special effort at that time to get anything different?
No, just an ordinary human impulse to settle into a new situation. That's all.
You're always so simple. And my mind is so complicatedly difficult.
That's okay.
Okay.
It'll get over it.
I believe.
Uh-huh.
I believe.
I believe. Sister, I believe.
Okay. Question about, is doubt your true nature?
Is doubt?
Doubt. Because I wouldn't think that it is.
No. My mentor was desperation and insanity.
Okay. Well, I notice a lot of times.
If by that you mean what has produced this work in me.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of times I've noticed during the retreat when you talk about you wanting to get better at clarity or you wanting to better your skills at working or you bumbling around talking about getting the point out. That to me seems like a sense of doubt, but it doesn't seem like it would be your true nature.
It's like, what it is, it's no different from like learning to do anything else. Learning to mow the lawn, learning to take care of the garden, learning to keep the house correctly, learning to do the books that we do, learning to work on the website, learning to all of the things that we do as these human beings. They are all skills.
Like your mind wanting improvement still?
Yeah, this is, and I am developing my skill at speaking what I see. But it's just a skill. There's nothing mystical about it. It's just a skill. And I have seen that like any other task that we undertake as these creatures, that there are ways that we can improve and develop and sharpen and our skill at it, or no matter what it is, whether it's digging a hole or talking to people, trying to speak your mind to people. It's not something, maybe something we're born with, but it's something that quickly gets confused and complicated in the heat of the effort to find a way out.
Yeah,
I never had the skill. My skills went more toward, like I was a machinist. I was a very good machinist, and that too is a skill that takes time and practice and making mistakes and being aware of the mistakes that are made. It's just a very simple thing. It's not mysterious. Just me trying to develop the skill.
I guess I just want clarity in, like, I have thoughts of wanting to improve and do more at times, and getting clarity on the feelings that come with that are often there's something wrong with me.
Yes, right. Well, you generally
so
speaking,
hopefully when that goes away, the thoughts of
that's
wanting
right.
to
And
improve
I tell you,
will
this
continue.
is important. That's right, they will. But this is very important. I mean, it's not important because it'll make itself clear to you as the work progresses within you. So it's not like you need to learn this and become this, right? But it is the case that these human creatures, they have this, they do things, right? We do things. That's what we do. We do things. And it is the case that, and this is an excellent example, in the effort to become more skillful at what we are doing, for the most part, for all of our lives, that's driven by this sense that there's something wrong and I've got to be better. If I can be better at this, I might get over it, or if that doesn't work, then if I get better at this, that might get over it. But that contamination of it with a false motivation of ridding ourselves of the misery of our lives, right, makes us much worse at developing these skills.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
Yeah. So when this fear goes, we get a lot better. Like there's nothing at stake in me seeing that I am not as skillful as I would like to be in communicating what I would like to communicate. There's nothing at stake in the fact that I see that. Whereas, of course, there was a time in this life when seeing that I am not as good as I would like to be would be an occasion for confusion and humiliation and how can I get better and how do I pretend that I am as good as I should be while I am trying to get things together and so forth.
So now it's kind of like,
But now
you would like to improve, and like if you do, I do. If I don't, I don't. And it is what it is.
it's more. I'll tell you, it's more satisfying than that.
Oh, good.
It's more satisfying than just la-di-da. It's like I can see that I actually have over the years I actually have improved my ability to skillfully communicate what it is that I see and seek to communicate. And that's satisfying. It doesn't solve any fundamental, profound problems, because there are no fundamental, profound problems. It's just one of the features of being a human creature, conscious of what it's doing, conscious of what the effect of it is, and conscious of the endlessly evolving nature of it over time. And that's satisfying. It's pleasant. It's like I don't smell a rose saying, oh, well, if it smells good, that's okay. If it doesn't smell good, la-di-da, it's okay, all is one. I smell a rose because I want to have that sensation, that sweet sensation of the aroma, the fragrance of a rose. And I am satisfied in that desire when I smell the rose. I don't think that I have been saved from damnation or condemnation because I successfully smelled the rose. And it's the same thing. It's just little, we get So complicated. We have so alienated ourselves from our own lives that even the idea that there is something in the way these lives unfold and have their being that can be pleasant is like, how can that be? It's got to be something other than that. You follow me? And it's not. It's the normal human activities are the source of satisfaction.
I guess I just need your constant reassurance.
It's okay. It's okay.
I forget quickly. Okay.
Well, you can't. You see, this is something, and this is the problem that has plagued us. It's not that those who have seen reality have been like too dumb or too selfish or too screwed up to, like really tell us what the real deal is. But it's just I don't remember what I was going to say. I don't remember what I was answering. But this is the problem that we have had in the thousands of years of trying to do something about this, is the unexamined assumption that there's something wrong with life, that the problem is to be found in the way life is lived, and the solution is to be found in a profound transformation in the way the life is lived. And we can't hear anything else. We've just indoctrinated ourselves so thoroughly that the whole, even when the Buddhists in many schools often make this point very clearly, which is that when I eat, I just eat. When I wash my hands, I am just washing my hands. When I walk, I am just walking. When I sit, I am just sitting. And even though that's been announced, we have indoctrinated ourselves even to the belief that is some expression of some hidden mystical reality of which we are unaware. No matter how we are told that this is the way we should be, that what we should be doing is just enjoying life as it is, no matter how often we are told that within the context of this magical mystery idea of spiritual attainment and so forth, we have so indoctrinated ourselves that we can't even hear that directly. So the attempt to do that, the attempt to become like that, is just more of the same. You don't have to worry about it, but your attempt to remember that, to try to enact it and so forth, they cannot succeed.
It's like there's clarity, it comes and it goes.
Yes.
It's like I totally get it, know what to do, and then I've totally lost it. Where am I?
That'll pass. And clarity is your nature. And when clarity asserts itself, finally, when the problem itself, when you're rid of the problem itself, then clarity itself isn't a big deal. It's just your nature. So, be patient with yourself. Or not. I mean, you can fight if you want to, but
choose patience.
It won't stop you from succeeding, and it won't help you in any way.
Yeah, the struggle seems just pointless.
It is pointless.
Like,
but doesn't
I
mean,
get there faster and faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like staying in the suffering gets less and less.
Yeah, it's boring.
But it's ridiculous.
Thank
Thank you.
Good work. Thank you. Anybody else? It's amazing the way we trick ourselves. We've indoctrinated ourselves so thoroughly and so effectively that we can't even hear so simple a thing as, hey, it's life that you're after. It's just eating and sitting and sleeping and learning how to play ball and learning how to speak more effectively and so forth. Tomas.
Hey, John.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, my question that came up yesterday evening was, there are occasions where, when it's my birthday, my kids will get me a card or some little craft they made, and they say, yeah, Papa, close your eyes. I close my eyes. And then they say, see, right? Look. And I look and I see. I see immediately what's there. so there's like an immediacy to the scene, to the the physical scene. Let's say. When you're talking about look, for instance, look between the thoughts. That to me is kind of already a thought. Like, okay,
It is.
look. So it's a process. There's time that goes by. When you give the example of look when you were 5 and 30, and okay, so how did that feel? How does it feel now? Again, there's like time. Or even when somebody says, who's here? Oh, I'm here. Still, that is time. And so my question to you is, does it actually always take time? Is it always a process? Or does one get actually really good at it? Where,
See, this is the thing. This is an interesting thing. I'm really glad that we had this discussion and that. This is a skill.
it is, right?
The movement of attention toward the actual nature is a skill. And it's a skill that we have absolutely no experience at. Zero experience at. And it's a skill that has to be learned. And it isn't learned by understanding what it means and what should happen and all. It's learned by doing it. Like any other skill. It's learned by doing it, using your natural intelligence and capacity for discernment to help in the development of that skill, to simplify it, to get a better sense of what you're looking at. And of course, this development of this skill, the purpose of it is not to become skillful at it. Just like the purpose of learning to wash dishes effectively is not to become skillful at it. The purpose is to do the dishes correctly. And it's the same with this skill. The purpose of it isn't to become a master of self-inquiry. The purpose of it is to get a glimpse of yourself. And it's important to see, I mean, it's useful, I think, to see that distinction.
So my follow-up question is, when you talk about the natural state, is that where that is a constancy, or is this where it's a very easy to see, or is it a place where one can just look and see?
The natural state is the state in which the fact of your persistent and unwavering conscious awareness of your nature is never vanishes from view. And it doesn't mean anything mystical or special, because your nature, your actual nature, is not all that special to begin with. It's not all that. It's not all that. It's not trumpets and angels and flowers descending from heaven. It's just you. And in the natural state, you never cease that conscious recognition. But it's not a big deal.
Right. So, would you still say to yourself, "Oh, I should look"?
The skill, the activity, the action of looking by trying to get this glimpse of yourself, that's the action. That action persists for as long as it's needed, and then it just vanishes. Like so many other behavioral relationships and traits and so forth. They just vanish. You can't make it go away. It just goes away.
So is that why you're saying you don't want to get a master at the dishes or inquiry, because it's actually not even the point?
That's right. That's right. It's not the point. The point, again, exactly so, right? You're not trying to become a master at self-inquiry. You're trying to get the look.
Right.
And you get the look not in order that you can consistently and over longer and longer durations have that looking be successful. You're trying to get the look so that you can rid yourself of this false assumption. That's all. And then the rest of it is life.
Beautiful. Then
Yeah.
life speaks.
Life speaks for itself. That's right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Follow
John.
that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is good. Yes, Roberta.
I'm smiling because I was going to talk about the same thing, but in a very, very different way.
Good morning.
Good morning. So this is my way to do it. And it started with a thought I had about you last night. I had this, I think it was last night, I actually don't know when it was, to ask you something about being in prison and capitalism and being pissed off at everything that you have told us about. So I had this thought, I think this was a thought, I could be wrong, but I think regardless it'll get to where I'm going. I was going to ask you, I thought, I want to ask John, is he still, something like this, is he still mad at capitalism, which I know you obviously you aren't, but is there still...
Obvious. Did you say obviously I am or am not?
Not. Is there still something that would, there was this question in my mind is, because I thought I was somehow slight version of, well, God, capitalism is insane. It's worth being pissed off at. I can understand why someone who you are not now, but were then and still are, would do what you did. It's a sane response.
I can understand it too. Yeah.
Yes, it's a sane response to something like capitalism, and we could give 1,000 examples of other things. But the point of me telling this and how it relates to you, because you're probably thinking, where the hell is she going with this? Was this, as I stopped myself and I started laughing. Oh, and it was something about, struggling with that you had to spend 18 and a half years in prison. And I know you spent other time in prison because you escaped from prison before you spent the 18 and a half
That's
years in
right.
prison.
Twice.
So I thought, is he mad that he had to spend time in prison for doing something that was quite sane, that was insane, in a insane, sane thing? So but the thing that just blew me away was when I was thinking about that, I thought, how do I know that that's why he spent time in prison? How do I know, how do we know anything about that story? So this is how it relates to what you were saying, is it goes back to a conversation I had with Mo a couple days ago when we were talking about spontaneity and continuity, which sort of gets into the time thing. And I said to her, I said, well, this thing about, living life is we do live in continuity. So you tell this thing that's in continuity of time, but we also live in spontaneity, but we don't live really in either of those. So this is something I've seen before in this way. This is a concrete example. I could tell the story of going to a basketball game, that I bought a ticket, that I drove a car there, that I sat in a seat, and that I watched a basketball game. I've actually watched this in my head. And then I thought, because there you are at the basketball game, or the memory of being at the basketball game. But then I thought, when I'm at the basketball game, I'm telling a story about how I got to the basketball game. I don't really know anymore that that's how I got there. It's a bit like you pop onto the earth. So it's continuity. We're telling the story of time.
That's right.
But then even when we tell the story of Be Here Now, we're telling a story of spontaneity.
That's right.
Which is trying to localize time. It's the same as, you saying, if I want to look at me, look here. But then I'm everywhere. So it's a story of time and space. There's no. I really, honest to God, don't mean to be abstract about this. Because you see this. So when you say, or I say, and this actually happened when I was in a conversation with Mo in Texas a year ago, when we were talking about this thing that we've talked about at this retreat, how much time is it going to take me to have this experience? And in Texas, I was saying the same thing. We were listening to something, and I had this flash in which it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's absolute truth in the fact that it matters when it matters. So that's not to discount that it matters when it matters.
Right. That's right.
So, but then when it is gone, because you can't find the time in which it wasn't.
That's right. That's the truth. I understand very clearly what you're
Yes.
saying. That's the truth.
So,
Of course.
so it can feel nuts to see all that if you take it to mean something.
Yes, that's right.
But it's not nuts. It's actually reality, but it's no more reality than this common thing here. But that's how this common thing here doesn't become common anymore. It's not la-di-da. It's that comes somehow something like that. I don't know what I just said, but you know.
I know. I'm not certain exactly what it is I know that you are pointing to, but I'm confident that I know. I see you very clearly. And here's the thing. This is all, this that you are seeing is just as you know it to be the case. It is further storytelling,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It is a further kind of distancing from
Okay. Yeah.
actuality.
I see that.
And that's not bad.
No.
Neither is the storytelling that comprises the life bad.
Right.
None of the characteristics that we have previously happened upon as being problematic, or that's what's the problem and that's what I have to get rid of, none of those things actually are bad. None of those things actually have any negative effect whatsoever on anything. They are effects themselves. Where sometimes we get tricked up, especially if we're really smart and really have a comprehensive intellectual viewpoint, overview of things. Where we get tricked up is remaining caught in the conviction that all of this is somehow profoundly significant
Yeah.
and either dangerous or magnificently magical. And that there's nothing you can do about. That's just the way in which the creature has evolved over time. That itself, the sense that there is a problem within that whole apparatus itself, dissolves when the cause of it dissolves. And then, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the way that we communicate here is by me speaking within the context of time and space as if there were something concrete and significant about it, speaking to you, trying to be helpful to you, trying to hear what you say. And certainly it is the case that this is all storytelling within the context of space and time. But that's how we do it.
Yeah.
It is a feature, not a bug. It is a characteristic of humanity that is actually quite wonderful, without which we would be different than we are. So, all
You know
that's
what's happening to me right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that identity.
Yes, I know.
And
I know.
that what you're saying to me is you're letting that exist as you're dissolving it. And I know you're just talking to me, but it's that that's the thing that I've gotten caught up in.
I know that.
And it's real and not real. And that's the
I know that.
yeah.
And this is the outcome. This is often the case in people with sharp intellects. It's the outcome of the movement into ironic detachment, and the movement of alienation that says, okay, this is this and that is that, and it leads to insanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's over now.
Yeah. It's
The movements and the activities and so forth will continue for a time. The feeling of distress that is associated with them will continue for a time, and then they just won't show up anymore. There's nothing wrong with being human.
and that's part of being human. All of those things, like even that thing of having a something is even human. that it's not even bad.
No.
You know, like being able to see things or being intelligent is not necessarily bad.
It's not
just
bad at
the
all.
way that it gets
That's right. It's a misunderstanding.
confused. Yeah.
That's all it is. And when it's just like, I don't know what it's like, but the fact is, when the cause of the misunderstanding is gone, your alienation, even from this sense of ironic detachment, also will disappear. Your alienation with the sense of intelligent discourse and intelligent consideration and seeing into the inherently contradictory nature of things, that doesn't have to go. It won't hurt.
Yeah.
It's just a characteristic that comes and goes.
And so if for me, stuff I see,
Right.
um,
Right.
even though I felt very alienated because I have seen, not that I've seen them, but that's where I am, that I get to, that it can just be life like the roses are life for most people.
That's right.
That reality might exist, I don't know, any more than we know that the roses exist.
That's right.
And even though everybody else isn't talking about that all the time, I don't have to either,
That's
any more
right.
than anybody needs to talk about the roses.
That's right. Exactly. That's right. And it's
And
like,
then what's left then is me.
that's right. What was always the case.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. You know, I haven't often, but from time to time, I am kind of enchanted by the impossibility of actually confirming that what I see is what you see. Like, for example,
Yeah.
that the color that I call blue is the same
Right.
subjective experience as the color that you call blue, even though they happen to coincide with the object.
Well, that's funny because we could be having the same discussion about that, couldn't we?
We could. It's the same. It is the same discussion.
I got it. I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
And it's not a difficulty. It's kind of a, wow, look at that. There's no way of knowing.
That's how that one's identity gets wrapped up in something.
That's right.
And everybody, that's the common thing we all have.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Just keep looking. Stick to the point the best you can. Okay?
Let me get a Kleenex. That's what I'm going.
Okay. What a gift you've been, Roberta.
What?
What a gift. A rose is a rose is a rose.
It's just around the corner, around your tissue. No, but I think right in the corner.
Mo.
I always feel really simple after that.
That's okay.
I had an experience this morning that was I think in your language, satisfying to this creature. And it's left me with a question around it seems possible to use, whenever it occurs to me to look at myself, as another tactic in certain moments.
Doesn't matter. It is a tactic.
Okay.
It is the same energy that has fueled all of the foolish and ineffective things that we do. The same energy. It's the sense that there's something that needs to be done. The sense that something needs to be done. Now that energy, that deep, alive and vivid sense, that there's something that needs to be done is justifiable. It's not like the enemy. It's not like the devil. It's justifiable. It is the spontaneous arising within the human creature of its unique ability to seek a solution, to try to figure things out, to not be bound by the past, but not be bound by things, right? To be able to discern and sort among the things that are available to it. The thing that has made that itself, that same sense that something needs to be done, and the energy that arises from it, what has made that seem so problematic for all of these thousands of years is the fact that we're just looking in the wrong place. That we just have missed the whole humanity has missed how simple it is to use that actual energy itself to actually accomplish its purpose, which is to rid ourselves of the problem. And so long as that energy is wasted on trying to find a solution where there is no problem among the effects, right? Then even that energy of searching seems wrong, off, icky. But once we start developing the skill needed to direct that to the only place where it could do some good, then we see that there was nothing wrong with it in the first place, that it was actually kind of on the right track, except in the wrong direction. The impulse to mystify this business is huge, entirely because of the fact that we have so indoctrinated ourselves to the idea that the answer is to be found out there, either by the elimination of out there, or the transformation, or transcendence, or salvation from out there, or something. So, the fact that it seems to be a movement that has the aim in mind of solving the problem is the case. It's just that in this case, it will succeed. Its purpose will be fulfilled, and the need for it will vanish.
Because it doesn't always, this morning was the first time it's ever felt like that. Normally, it doesn't feel like it's to solve the problem, even though it is.
Yeah.
It's just an action of looking.
Yes.
Today, because this morning when I first woke up, I was in so much anxiety over something. I moved to it quickly as a way to fix that anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's when it felt different.
Yeah. Well, and of course it feels different, because now it feels like it's in the same realm that it has always been.
Right.
But the fact is, it has always been in the same
that realm
as it
anyway.
always been.
I
And
was just more aware this morning that I was using that energy for it. I see.
that's right. The only difference is that in this work, it'll succeed in its purpose. That's the only difference. The whole movement within the spiritual realm to demonize the energy of trying to make things right. I mean, why wouldn't we want to make things right? Things seem to suck. Why wouldn't we want to? The problem is not that we want to make things right. The problem is that we don't know how to do that, and therefore we flail about in realms and contexts that cannot satisfy it. That's the problem. And the only problem, really, that actually is the cause of all that, is this misunderstanding. So, this business of demonizing the search energy all arises from the same mistake. From the idea that there's something about the way I think, the things I want, the things I don't want, the thoughts that come to me, the sensations that come to me, the ways in which I try to do things, that is the problem. And the spiritualization that demonizes the search is just an effect of that same misunderstanding. Instead of saying, become more skillful, look in the right place, we say, stop searching, be still, don't move, be quiet. And we say, oh, okay, I'll do that. Oh, I moved again. Damn, I had a thought. I'm bad.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay. I think it is helpful. It's very useful to be rid of this idea. This is just an action. It's just a skill. The stories that cluster around it as to what you're doing and why you're doing it and so forth are beside the point. That's why I say stick to the point. Don't worry about that. You cannot do this wrong. It doesn't matter what thoughts and feelings and stuff are around it. The desire to rid yourself of this alien idea is genuine and authentic. And the sense that the way to do it is by moving the arrow of attention to one thing or another, that too is authentic and true, correct. The only thing that where the problem resides is none of that. It resides in our misunderstanding as to where the problem resides. What it is we have to look at. Okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? Shankar?
John.
But you don't have to believe that either. Just let me finish that. And I say these things, and I really feel the need to add a disclaimer, which is that believing or not believing what I tell you about that is also beside the point. It may be helpful to you, it may ease the sense of being off and stuff, but believing or not believing it is also beside the point. The point is you. That's the only point. You.
Yesterday, around late evening, I just went to the Ventura Pier, and there was nobody in there, and it was like pitch dark actually. And I just wanted to walk to the pier and stand at the edge, and I was seeing the black, dark ocean. The sky was dark, everything was dark. When I looked down, everything was dark actually. And there was a certain sense of fear that was there. That was the fear of unknown or something like that. And but when I see the same ocean during the daytime, it looks so beautiful. And during the night, it feels fierce. And then the thought came that whatever I'm seeing it as beautiful, or the same thing I'm saying it as fierce, is it just a fantasy of my own, or is it just a fear I'm creating or something like that?
I think that the reason we fear the dark is because it's not because fear arises with the presence of darkness. It's because fear is always here, and usually there's some object that we can project it onto. Some object of acquisition or, resistance or something. There's some object we can reflect it onto, whereas in the dark, and I mean dark in a kind of a existential sense, right? Where dark can't see and dark inside and so forth. Fear of the dark has no place to place it. So all there is the fear.
Oh, so there is no reflection of the fear, so it is just there.
That's right.
So it is my own thing that is coming out, which has been there all the time.
It's here all the time, yeah. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just wanted to tell that I'm very grateful to you.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I'm actually very amazed that this entire work is just you and Carla. You guys are just doing everything.
We're amazed too.
It's like I'm actually an IT programmer, and when you told that you are maintaining all the websites and the servers and doing all the coding of all the things, I can understand when you say that it's
Yeah.
a feature and not a bug. It's a Microsoft term. You have to call those guys and say, "Oh, is this a feature or a bug?"
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm really amazed at stuff.
We are
like
too.
this.
And actually, I have to say it's mostly Carla. I mean, I do a lot of work. I do a lot more work than I have before in my life. I'm getting better at doing work. I'm getting better at actually going and working on the HTML that needs to be fixed, and better at actually, having a list of tasks and going through them and accomplishing. I'm beginning to learn those skills. But Carla, you can't believe Carla. Carla is a miracle. Carla does everything. Carla does the accounting, does the videography, does the editing and creation of all the videos and audios, all of that stuff. She does the camera work. She does the audio work here. She sets things up. She tears things down. She keeps the books. If I had a list, I would read it to you, but there's no end to it. It's mostly Carla. Carla.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I feel that after coming to all this, 5 days, many of my garbage that I collected in my mind has become a little bit uncluttered.
That's cool. That'll proceed as one might expect.
Yes.
It'll proceed.
I think the main thing is just to keep uncluttering the wrong things that I had been thinking.
The main thing is to look at you. All of that will happen on its own. There's nothing whatsoever you can or should do about uncluttering your mind. The clutter in your mind naturally falls away when its cause is extinguished. Okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, shall we wrap this thing up? Helen? Hi, Helen. Thank you for the persimmons. Will they get ripe? They will get ripe, huh?
Yes, they will.
Cool.
Just give some time.
Helen actually, not uncommonly, brings us food from her garden that is always like, wow, amazing. Tomatoes and I made pickles out of those cucumbers, and we haven't yet kind of worked up the courage to to trust in the cold canning method that pickles require. But we will.
Well, in this spiritual world, people talking about all one, and everything is me, and I just felt like those are just the words. I never really pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it. Just the words. And last night, when I was sitting here, and just look, and all of a sudden, some image come to my mind of others, the image of others. And somehow I felt they were me. Mm. And immediately the alarm started running. No, that's wrong idea. How could the image be you? And you should see the others are you, the real people, real thing are you. And the image is something
Isn't that something how we fool ourselves with spiritual understanding?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Of course.
But I thought, okay, I'm going to check with John tomorrow.
Of course the image is you. What else could it be?
I saw it clearly, all those images. I saw you and some other people, and I saw during the day, and just shows up in this image. And immediately I felt
They are all me.
Yes, that's right. You know, when I see from this side of John Sherman, when I see the image of John Sherman, which for me is a different image than it is for you, but it is no less an image that comprised of sensational, a complex of sensation and vision, and I see my hand off on the side here and so forth. When I see the complete image of John Sherman, I am freshly aware that that's me. There's no difference. That's me. Just like you. When I see the image of Helen, that's me. But even the image of me is me. In the same exact way. In the same exact way.
So then I keep sitting there and just trying to, I know my mind was fighting, starting fighting. This can't be, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, I'm just simply look. And, I've been hearing, when you say lessening, and without any thought, just a pure lesson. And I can hear everything within me. That's how I felt for quite some time. And yesterday, every sound I listened was me.
That's right.
Not just within me, but actually they are
Yes,
me.
that's absolutely the case. And I'll tell you something else too. Right now, that perception, which is absolutely the case, right now that perception is new and kind of startling and significant, but that's always the case. And in time, that perception is just the case. It's nothing new. It's just the way it is. It's not that, and this is another mistake that we are prone to in spiritual attainment, is the idea that when something comes or seems to appear freshly that hasn't been here before, that the specialness of it that comes from its newness will prevail and persist. And I will always see the wonder of the fact that I know that the sounds are me and the images are me and all of that. But really, it's just the case. It's just new to your conscious awareness.
It's kind of, it felt like, of course it's me.
Yes,
it
of
just
course.
felt like there's.
What else could it be? Yeah.
But on the other hand, the mind comes in and says, it's so weird. Well, then I'm starting to say, oh,
But that's
okay.
you too.
Yeah, that is my. Yeah, I saw the thinking are me.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I saw that
Yeah.
the thinking are me.
Congratulations.
Just the start. So all those talks, if you believe the words, then you are misleading.
That's
You are
right. Then you
misled.
miss the point.
But when they say it, if the people are really felt it and it's very genuine.
It's genuine.
They say
It's genuine.
they're trying to say what they saw.
That's right. That's exactly what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
telling us what they see.
Right. But then we pick up the words as has real value of the truth, but they're not.
No.
Yeah, it's not
And-
as you think they
That's
were.
right. And the teachings themselves we take entirely in the wrong sense.
Yeah.
We think they're telling us how we must be. Like, this is the way I see things. Therefore, what you have to do is get to the point where you see things in the same way that I am describing my own way of seeing things. When that's just crazy talk. If that were the case, it would be that we wouldn't have 7 billion human beings. We don't need 7 billion human beings. If that's the case, just need one. So, and this is something that is very useful to consider, and that is the certain fact that every person who spoke or wrote or whatever from the true natural state, seeking to be helpful to us, that it may actually be the case that every single one of them wasn't clear as to how that took place. And that's why they didn't tell us what to do. This is something useful to consider. It really is, to have an adult and sane relationship with what we have been told and what the people who have arisen in the past and what they have said, to have an adult and sane relationship with that, with a healthy skepticism, especially when we consider the fact that the attachment to these teachings over the thousands of years have had so little effect on humanity. Really. Except to, enliven in us the sense that there's something to get, something actually is, some possibility of being free of this. But other than that, as far as practical help, for the most part, they've had not so much help. And even we have, because of the way we have taken them, as you point out, because of the way we have taken them, we have turned them into an obscuration and a hindrance, rather than a help. The only thing worthwhile is something that tells us how to do this, how to get rid of this problem. Not anything that tells us the result of getting rid of it is the perception, the understanding that there is no problem. But how to get rid of the problem. And then you see for yourself. See for yourself. Not to affirm or contradict what others have reported seeing, but just to see for yourself. Just that. You see for yourself by ridding yourself of this which obscures your vision, which is this idea that there's something I need to do, something missing, something here that shouldn't be here, something to be fixed. And then you begin to see for yourself. And then, just as I have said, you begin to see the utterance, the spiritual utterance, the beautiful, gorgeous, wondrous ways in which people have spoken about the actual state of being a human being, the actual natural state of humanity. You begin to see them from this side, and you see them as not such a big deal, just one way of speaking about what you see clearly for yourself. You see them from that side, you see them as something that from which you can somehow wrestle, pull, or demand, or beg for a solution. And there's never been that. Never.
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome, Helen. And another Helen.
I may get in trouble for this, but I have something that's very much on my heart, and it was triggered by the mention of all that you do and all that Carla does. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful to Helen that she shares her garden with them. And we live a very long ways away. And we have a little bit of money that we share with John and Carla on a monthly basis. And I just feel that all of us could be of help in some way for all that they give. I mean, they've given us here like 5 days and have not asked for a penny. And as somebody mentioned the other day, we could have been paying thousands of dollars for this. And I know that everyone who comes does not have a lot of money, but I think that there are things that people could do. And maybe people who live here, live close, could share other things. Like, I also have a garden, so I'm really moved by knowing that being able to help. I mean, groceries are expensive. And I don't know what else to say, but I'm just wanting to reach out to you all and ask you to search your own hearts for ways that you can give back to John and Carla, who just, they give everything and ask nothing. But they are human and they have to live too, and I want them to be able to continue this work. So.
Okay, you're in trouble now. I do want to say something about what you said, though. You know, the reason we don't charge money is because it has become so apparent to us that this work is way too important to put a barrier of any kind between the participation in this work and them. And it used to be, you know, I heard people we used to charge money. We used to charge money when it wasn't as clear to us how really valuable this is. When it wasn't as clear to us what it is that we actually want to communicate. It's a strange thing. Back in the day, when it didn't seem to me like there was really much value in what I was doing, we charged money to do it. And then when we came to see, as our vision clarified, and we came to see what a magnificent effect, stunningly. It still makes me stutter when I hear from people how effective this is. But we decided then that, you know, and I have heard it said among people who charge money that it's part of the teaching, right? That you don't value what you don't pay for. But what about those who don't have money? Or what about those who just don't want to pay for anything? Well, those are not humans. They are not in any way separate. They are us. They are the same. And the value of this I perceive to be so great that it became impossible for us to put that hurdle between us and people who might otherwise come to hear what we have to say. Now, the fact is that over the years we have, surprisingly, I mean really sometimes it's stunning that it actually happens, but over the years we have actually been able to pay our rent and feed ourselves and buy clothes and do all this work and take care of things. And it's always has been the result of the generosity of those with whom we meet, the willingness to take part, the willingness to contribute. We have most of the money that comes into the foundation, like we operate as a 501c3 IRS, stamp of approval, nonprofit corporation. And that means that we have to actually do what we do according to the laws and rules of business practices. Like we have to keep books, we have to make reports, we have to do all the things that one would have to do to be a business, and especially to be a business that has the generous approval of the IRS that those who give money to us don't have to pay taxes on the money they give to us. And a significant amount of our time and a significant amount of the money that does come into the organization goes to administrative costs and administrative tasks and things of that nature. But you have been generous to a fault, really. You know, that it's amazing to us how spontaneously generous people are and how willing they are to support and help this work. We are not starving. by our own lights, we live quite well. I mean, we don't, by somebody else's lights, we're probably paupers, but by our own lights, we live quite well. We're very happy with our lives. We're very content with the fact that we are being helpful to people. But it's also true that, and what I'm getting at is that the willingness to contribute time and energy and talent and money to this work is not in order to make life more comfortable for Carla and I, or to repay us in some way for some imagined boon that we have brought to you. If there is value in this work, then it is worthwhile supporting. We support it with our lives. If there's value in this work, then it's worthwhile supporting. And that support can take a wide range of things. It can be donations of money, which is really always welcome, and we're always short of money. The money that we get, we use to do things like be able to videotape these things so that people all over the world can eventually see them and record them, and to maintain the servers and the software and all the things that we use in order to be able practically to get this work out into the world. We have ideas and kind of wishes about where we could go from here that more money would certainly facilitate. So the need for money is endless, and it is ever growing. But even at that, the money we actually receive is very small compared to pretty much anything else. Pretty much anything else. So money is welcome. We also have seen in recent times how it is that there are a lot of things about our day-to-day, the minutiae of our day-to-day work, that go undone because there's just not enough hours in the day between Carla and I to get them done. There are a lot of things that kind of go by the board. There are a lot of things that I'd like to see accomplished that I can't get accomplished because I am dealing with the latest crisis of the collapse of my computer system, or something of that nature. We very much could use help in different areas, like accounting. It would be wonderful if we had somebody who knew about accounting who would take that burden off of us. And I'm not saying people here, but I'm talking to the camera too. It would be wonderful if we had people who were familiar with the whole realm of getting the news and the information of this out into the world to appear and have some role in the organization itself. It would be wonderful if the right people showed up, and I'm not, by the right people, I mean the people who actually have the talent and the desire to do so. If the right people showed up and because the work does not have to be done locally. We're in the 21st century now, to help us with some of the minutiae and so forth. But that'll come. Our experience is that what's needed comes. I'm very grateful to you, Helen, for saying that. And our experience is that what's needed comes. Really, it does. It seems that, I don't want to get too mystical about this, but it seems that this work is intrinsically valuable in this world. And this world seems somehow, sometimes grudgingly and sometimes slowly, but somehow willing to see that this work continues. So, what I'm saying is that Carla and I are doing fine. We're doing fine. We managed to get our bills paid, we managed to feed ourselves, we managed to wash our clothes and so forth. We're really doing fine in our personal lives. But anything, anybody, anywhere, feels that they might be able to contribute to the actual development of this work and the actual expansion of the reach of this work would be most welcome. I am working now on actually trying to define those kind of things that we really could use help on in such a way that those who have those skills might be able to recognize it as something that they might want to take part in. The point of all this is that we are together. We are in this together. When I speak of the fact in meetings and retreats like this, that your presence and your communication with me and your conversation with me and your disputing with me and your willingness to stay with it until you at least see what it is I'm trying to get at, I make an effort to be sure that I acknowledge that, because that help is the best help of all. The help you give in being a part of this conversation that's going on within this work, within this possibility, is the best. You know, nothing can be better or more important than that. We are in this together. We are absolutely in this together. And the rest of it will come. It has so far. I'm confident that it will continue to do so. I guess that's all I have to say. So, gratitude, grateful. Anybody else? You're in trouble, Helen. You know, it's unseemly for a guru to speak about these matters. I know that. What the hell. I love you guys. Really, truly. This is the best retreat of all. Truly, it is. You have been magnificent, all of you. Okay, shall we call it a day? Okay, let's go take pictures and eat cookies.